The first thing that came to mind was vulnerability. I feel like Black women, we struggle with being open and transparent with one another. It's like our parents, our grandparents, like generation to generation, what's been taught is to be strong, is to not, let your guard down, not show that you're weak, and all this stuff. And you see these cycles of single parents, single moms, all of that. And that's how my experience was as well. And I think that I love, what my mom did. I love how she, what she instilled in me. But I think that the aspect that I've learned in this friendship is vulnerability. And it's hard, being a Black woman and hearing that you need to be strong, and it's not necessarily good to be weak. It makes you almost mistrust, the friendships, guys, or, with guys and with girls, that you have. So I think vulnerability, that is the biggest thing.
Being Black women is already like tied up in our relationship, so a lot of things just happen without us realizing it. It's just a part of us and everything. I think it's also very interesting because there's a dynamic of us being like biracial Black women too, and so we have a lot of those conversations, and we're able to kind of navigate those waters together.
I guess we have standards for each other as Black women, as Black Christian women, and Black educated women. So I think when we see each other doing things that are like, sis, like, you're way too good for this, we try and pull each other up. So, yeah, like, don't be a statistic.
Well, I'm a late bloomer in becoming a mother. So I was the last of the 6 girls to have a child, and my son is currently 8 years old now. And I'm the baby of the group. So I've had to look to Glennae and the other girls for a lot of advice, and especially raising a boy. I've been blessed that everyone has had girls and boys. And when I came out, when I ended up pregnant, we had the baby shower at Tina's. And everyone came, and it's just been a blessing to me, because motherhood, I was scared. I'm a single mother. I didn't know, what to expect. And I was older, late, everybody else kids done grew up and graduated high school, college, and here I am coming up with, the second grader. So it's been a blessing.
Some of the aspects in this relationship that's challenged me as a Black woman would be utilizing humility. It goes along with how Ayana said vulnerability, but I feel like being a Black woman in this society, especially like being 2 Black females who went to Howard University, we do carry some sort of pride in our work and in our ability to speak to people, in the way we dress. And I think coming in to this friendship, both of us being fresh in Christ, we had to tame that thing, and we had to be able to utilize the humility that God gave us, so we could really get down to the heart of what we were discussing, or just anything in regards to our growth and relationship. You have to be able to be humble. And I know for me that's always been a struggle, so that was definitely difficult in this relationship, because when you're in a friendship and God created it, there's no room for your flesh to jump out and say, well, I want it this way because of this. You have to be able to relax and let the Lord lead you.
She won't let me be as myself. I like to believe certain things sometimes, and she won't let me. Like, for example, or she won't let me lie to myself. Let me put it like that.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
Like, dang.
I mean, that's what I mean, though. So, like, how, you know, I don't know, like, I guess, small example, you know how I lost a little weight and stuff. You won't let me believe I'm thick anymore, so.
No, I don't
Stuff
want
like
to
that.
tell you. Well, I guess I'll tell you on camera. I was like,
There was lots of times, I guess, like in college where she went to a PWI and I went to HBCU. And so we could have those conversations and see the differences in our campuses when we would visit each other and kind of talk those things through and just, you know, validate who we are as Black women and encourage each other to, you know, stay strong and not let everything around us get the best of us.
Yeah. I was actually going to draw from the same idea about the college thing, especially, at least for me, the PWI. I didn't realize how, I guess, there is a blessing in growing up in, like, a space where it's all, you know, Black people. I've always been comfortable. I've never had to, like, stretch myself in that area. So when it came to finally going to college and just dealing with certain groups of people acting up, I always had like a safe haven at Howard. So I would be at your room all the time. I was like, I need to be around Black people. And then even after college, like now I'm in a space where I'm the only person that looks like me. And I know that I can always come to her, and she's dealt with being the only one that looks like her in her space. So, you know, we lean on each other for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what makes me most proud about Glennae is her tenacity. She is a wonderful mother, a wonderful wife, you know, and she holds the weight of everyone else's issues or problems, you know, on her shoulders. And meanwhile, we don't know most times unless we prying her teeth out to find out what's going on with her. So she's strong. She takes in everything and she gives out great advice. And sometimes it's hard for her to accept advice on her own behalf, because she's always the one that's so willing to give it out and help others. And then when she give out her advice recently, I just had to tell her, like, oh, guess what? It can apply to you too.
Well, that might be the answer to that question. The biggest challenge is accepting advice, or accepting even the friendship and love that someone gives you. We're a very giving circle, so we give gifts to each other, and it's hard for me to accept gifts because I'm such a giver. So I'm not looking for anything in return.
A purse or shoes.
Yeah, if it's a person's shoes, give it to me. Thank you.
Thing about Liz that makes me the most proud is that she is a woman after God's own heart.
I've just seen her grow so much in the time that we've known each other. And she's been through a lot of hard moments, a lot of tough situations, and she's resilient. And I don't always like the notion of like, oh, Black women have to be strong, Black women are strong, because we should be allowed to be vulnerable. And I don't think that portrayal is always conducive to us as women and just becoming ourselves in who we are naturally. But I do think that she is extremely when I think about being proud, like she never gives up. And that's just a great trait to have. She has a wonderful value system. And she's open. She has a listening ear. She's not like set in her ways. So I'm just proud of her for always being teachable, always being willing to try something new, always be willing to not care about what other people think. She has like zero concern. Like she does not care. There was a very obvious moment when we were indecisive about something. She's just like, I don't care. And she meant it with like the most sincerity. It was no shade. It was no like nothing. It's just like she really just, I'm just proud of her just being her and just walking her path and doing her grind and not worrying about anyone else, being a trailblazer in the career field and path that she's on, in her relationships, in her spirituality, everything. Like she's just committed to being the best and the truest of herself. So I'm proud to see that. Like I physically have seen it evolve and flourish to where she is now, and it's not the end.
I think that Tay is a trailblazer. I think that that's what makes me the most proud, because even though I might say no, like she probably shouldn't do something, it's not even like her, resisting, what I'm saying. It's just like God has literally wired her to like trailblaze, like to literally take advantage of so many opportunities. So I think that I am really proud of her, when she, goes against what, like someone would say, in a healthy manner. I think she does it just because she's loyal, because she's really faithful, and she feels like truly convicted when God, like prompts her to do something or whatever. She like really has the faith to back it up. So she'll just go straight at it, like head first.
The thing about Camila that makes me the most proud is that she goes after what she wants. So.
Damn. The thing that I'm most proud about Priyanka is, in my mind, I kind of feel like we kind of grew up together. Like we didn't grow up together, but we grew up together. And it's been really amazing to kind of see you go from like this mild-mannered kind of like, I don't know, like not willing to put yourself out there kind of person to like just blossom. Like, oh my, I think the best memory of that to me is when you did the gospel show at Howard. I don't know, it was amazing to like see you just like walk out there and be like, make decisions and like do all the things and hire all the people and like run the show. And then like when you came out at the end and everyone was like applauding and cheering, and I was just like, that's my baby. She did it. So yeah, that's probably one of the biggest examples for me of just watching you just like become Priyanka. Like that's so lit to me. Like I don't know, it's been really amazing to see you kind of like go even through those moments where you're like, we're not always running on a high. Sometimes there's lows. And kind of watching you navigate those moments, and then watching you be like, no, I am like, I'm Priyanka, like who is you, So for me, that's what makes me the most proud. Like, yes, Priyanka, flourish.
We're each other's biggest fans.
You understand? It's like, yeah.
I love that she's not afraid to say no. And I think some people say no for different reasons, but she really talks to the Lord and tries to find out, do I actually need to do this? Is this going to hinder me? Is this going to slow me down? And every time she speaks, whatever her answer is, that's it. Like, that's the answer. And I appreciate that a lot, because I think being in Washington, D.C., you meet a lot of people throughout the years who are used to just saying yes to everything, or people who just do things because they feel like they have to or they need to. And to be friends with her, and like I trust that if she's doing something, it really is like being led by the Lord. And she does it because like she really wants to and she knows she needs to. So that makes me really proud.
Tisha is very accomplished. Tisha, and she did it a lot on her own, going back to St. Aug when she had lost, can I say that? Yeah. She lost the monies that she needed to finish school. But she figured out a way and she graduated, and I'm so proud of her with that. And during that time she has worked for law firms and different things, and she really has grown to be a very great businesswoman and working with her her different companies that she's worked for. So that's why I'm most proud, because she didn't have, let's just say, a marriage all this time, you get what I'm saying, to accomplish, because sometimes you can lean like, I gotta do this, my husband could take up the flat. Sometimes at points that she was single, she was able to go ahead and do those things and accomplish a lot of things. I'm very proud of her like that. She hasn't let anything stop her, and she's still going forward for us. I love it.
I believe that society thinks that black women don't get along because we're either fighting over, well, we're always apparently fighting over men, which is not true. We're portrayed as like angry and, unattractive and loud, and that's not true.
Agreed. I believe that society depicts black women as not getting along because society has bred us to not love ourselves, and therefore they think that we do not love each other. That is not the case.
And to fight over English men and fight over things that are petty, and have to like scrap up crumbs because that's what we think we're worth.
I feel like society does portray women, black women especially, as being, like always in opposition to each other, unable to flourish together, unable to communicate, unable to have a deep, meaningful, and lasting relationship. But I mean, that's not true. Not at all. I think it's just society not understanding and not wanting to understand to a certain degree, and therefore only seeing what they want to see. So I think we, in that regard, definitely, like, I just think of times when we would be in DC and we catch the metro, when we just like go around the city and do different stuff, and I do think that we stood out to people just as being, close-knit black friends, women at that. I do think that we have an example in those around us.
Ooh, yep.
Yes, I believe society believes that black women don't get along just based off of TV shows, based off of,
Right.
Anything where where it's two black women in a room and they're going for the same job, or they're, majoring in the same thing. I just think people think that we are just catty and, want to push the other one down. But I feel like I've met a lot of black women at Howard University who aren't like that, who are the opposite, who are interning at the White House, and they're like, oh girl, wait, there's a position, let me help you out.
Right.
So I think for my personal experience, I've gotten to see a different side of black women. I grew up in a rural place in California called Ceres, and all of my friends were Caucasian or Spanish, and before that point, I thought the same thing as society. I felt like black women were catty. I didn't even want black friends where I'm from until, I got a chance to transfer and move out here to Washington, D.C. And I saw a whole different type of black woman. Just women who love one another, women who, yes, they're fighting for the top, but I haven't seen too many women, push a couple afros down in weaves just to get to the top. I've seen them more be like, girl, let me fix your track and let me puff up your afro and then let me bring you down. So, yeah.
Society has this stereotype of the angry black woman, and then they think that black relationships, black women and friendships are like a thing of the past maybe, but it's so untrue, because we do uplift each other, we do we do pray for each other, we do encourage each other to do well in life, and it's not always shown, especially in this day and age with the reality TV that, as I call it, ratchet TV. You have a lot of black women portrayed as, not in a positive light, and that's not true.
Yeah, because I think drama sells.
Right.
So they'd rather pick out the negative things and minimize the great things that we have for each other, because we're doing a lot of things and we're supporting each other. There are a lot of women groups around the world that sisters come together and we celebrate one another. But that doesn't sell. That's not good news. So the thing about it is that society needs to weigh heavily on the good stuff instead of weighing so heavily on the bad things that you see. Because we're passionate people. That's one thing they gotta understand. We're very passionate, and a lot of times when we don't get along, it's because we're feeling passionately about something. I wouldn't say that we just don't get along. I think it's more of our passion is speaking loudly at that time.
It is vital to be in close proximity and connection with women who can share your experience, for, if nothing else, for the simple fact that you know that you're not alone in whatever it is that you're dealing with, whatever it is that you're going through. I think oftentimes with the societal standards, et cetera, there's a separation that is attempted, that is broken once you see, like, okay, she's actually just like me, she looks like me, we're going through something similar, and then you help each other. So
Yeah, and I think even building off of that, you might not have ever gone through the same experience, but because we're Black women, you can empathize with me, as someone else can just be like, oh, I can see why this would make you upset, but then they're really like, I put myself in this because this could happen to me, and I understand exactly what you're going through, and it's a space for safety and a space for comfort, and just uplifting.
I think that Black women do a really good job at empowering one another. I think the benefit of having a friend who looks like me, who might even have some of the same interests as me, same background, things like that, is beneficial and encouraging, you know, when you're looking for a career, when you're looking for even advice in a relationship or anything. I think that it's really essential because both her and I share similar aspirations.
It's important to have a friendship like this. Our friendship, as I stated, spans over 31 years. And it will go on forever. It's an infinity and beyond love. And to have a friendship that is like the core of your life, you know, with core people that are steadfast and they don't go anywhere, it's like an unmovable tree, it helps you to grow and progress through life. I mean, knowing that you have that group of core women that can help you is just is no description for it. Yeah. It's needed.
For me, I would hope that our friendship continues to develop. I would want you to be like the godparent to my kids, like that kind of thing. Just long-term life goals. I feel like I found in you kind of like the friend soulmate. Yes. And I would hope that, you know, as long as you willing to ride with me, I'm gonna ride with you. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see us like being friends forever, and I know that takes work, it takes commitment, but I think our relationship is worth it. I think we're both worth it. We've always been worth it individually, but collectively as friends, it's worth pursuing. She's worth being in my life for the rest of my days until we have fun partying in heaven, like looking back on memories of when we were on earth, like doing whatever. But definitely, like, when you think of, or when I'll make it personal, when I thought of, you know, like growing up and having a really good close friend in my older years, I've always seen those movies where it's like the two best friends who grow up, they have kids, they live next to each other, you know, get married at the same time, all that type of stuff. Now, I don't think our relationship is going to be like that to the T, because it's very fairy tale-like. But I do see us growing up together, traveling together, making lasting memories on a continual basis, you know, having kids and letting our kids be friends, like all those cutesy things, but on a very real level, because we've established a relationship where it is possible.
So once upon a time, I told her that I wanted to be friends in walkers, but I don't believe we'll need walkers. So
We're helping.
just old ladies at the cookout jamming. Yeah.
I see this friendship going in the future to us living near to each other in a different state that is not here. Our husbands will most likely be friends in the future, and my children can go to her house on the weekends or during the summertime. and and we'll all be great friends. We'll all be evangelizing together. Our children will be saved. Our children's friends will be saved, and the city will just be different.
Amen. I think that in the future, I can see her pulling up to my house with little Jamiroquai talking about, can you hook him up with some cornrows? Woo! Okay, but no, seriously, I think that like I can see us praying together all the time. I can see us, having family vacations all the time. Like I said before, she since day one invested, in this friendship, and God was the one who really kept it together. So I think that, it only makes sense, that we pray for one another, pray for our families, pray for our city, and stuff like that. I can see us traveling together all the time. I can see us doing community outreach stuff all the time. And she'll probably take me back to, I don't know, some country, random, I don't know, maybe the Netherlands or something. I don't know. I knew she was saying. But somewhere. She likes to travel. I do too, but she's like adventurous, like I mentioned before. So I'm down.
It's gonna be here forever and ever.
Infinity and beyond.
It's just gonna blossom. What we're gonna do is we're gonna buy houses on the same street, and we're gonna be neighbors so we can see each other all the time. Matter of fact, we're gonna have an underground tunnel. We're gonna build an underground tunnel so we can all see each other, get away from our husbands and kids and stuff, and we're gonna build an underground tunnel so we can see each other. Like, hey girl, what you doing? How you doing?
What was the name of the street? Because you named
I
it.
forgot the name of it.
Friendship Road.
Friendship Road.
She done forgot already.
We got a friendship road.
So we plan on growing old gracefully together.
Together. It's gonna be 6 of us. It's 4 more of our friends, but we're the closest now. So